The progressive revolution doesn't stop when the live show ends. Join the home of progressives and become a TYT member today. Click the link below.
If you believe that Donald Trump has not been affected by the wave of political violence that came across our country over the past week and a half or so, you'd be wrong. He has been affected. He's just been affected in his own particular Trumpy offensive way, as you'll see.
And I will tell you, we have gotten tremendous numbers of Republicans are going out to vote. Now, we did have two maniacs stop a momentum that was incredible, because for 7 days, nobody talked about the elections. It stopped a tremendous momentum. More importantly, we have to take care of our people, and we don't care about momentum when it comes to a disgrace like just happened to our country. But it did nevertheless stop a certain momentum, and now the momentum is picking up.
So one of the great things about Donald Trump not being on a teleprompter and also not thinking about the things he's going to say is that he will try to sometimes correct himself. So there he said, it's horrible that our momentum has been killed by these terror attacks. Not that we care about momentum, all that we care about is our people, but also our momentum has been killed, and that is a real shame.
Yeah, well, the real shame, of course, is that 11 human beings were killed.
Yes.
But he can't stop thinking about himself. Obsessed, doesn't care, brazen, not sophisticated enough to cover it up. I actually think Jon Favreau had the best comment here on Pod Save America, where he said, imagine any other president, Republican or Democrat, using a national tragedy like that and saying about how it reflects on their political standing, and that's what they care about. Right? Imagine if Bush was like, hey, 9/11 happened. On the other hand, man, my ratings are really great. I have great momentum, right? Or after Hurricane Katrina, George Bush saying like, oh man, that really hurt our momentum. We over 1,000 people died, right? But anyway, it hurt me in the polls. I didn't like that. Everyone would be rightly outraged, and you could pick a Democratic. Like if Obama had said Benghazi hurt me in the polls, that's why I don't like it. Boom! Every head would explode, right?
Like,
and so we've just gotten
Charleston church shootings. Like, that really hurts us. We were trying to accomplish stuff, but now we're distracted. People are only talking about these horrific terror attacks.
Right.
He said that he focused on the fact that the media. It's unfortunate that the media was covering these terror attacks. They should have been talking about the election, okay? Instead, they were talking about the terror attacks, and that's really unfortunate.
Can I say that? I don't think this was unplanned. I think this whole, oh, he's dumb and just so narcissistic. It was just off the cuff. Look what he did no, I think this was planned. It's like political gaslighting. Like this, he said something and he meant what he said, and he meant to say that because that's what has been bothering him, and he wanted to get that out to like-minded people. Yeah. But of course, because evil CNN is there, he's got to clean it up a little bit. It was just like the I'm a nationalist thing. He cleaned it up a little. I know you shouldn't say that, but no, he knew what he was doing. He went in there. This was the message, the whole point of being there.
Yeah,
I don't believe it was an accident.
So I agree and disagree. So I disagree, and I think that people who watch the show regularly know I don't believe he has any strategy. I believe he is that maniacally stupid and narcissistic, and he can't help himself. He just can't. He blurts it out, God damn it, we had momentum, and now we lost it because somebody got killed. Who cares, right? And they sent pipe bombs. I mean, they sent bombs to, 13 people? And he mentioned 5 of them at a recent rally as people that you should hate. After the bombs.
He didn't acknowledge that they'd been targeted by terrorists. He refused to ever say who had actually been targeted. He just went back to attacking 5 of them again.
Right.
Yeah, but the part that I agree with you, Brooke, is when he talks about how the momentum was stopped, he's basically saying like, I was on a roll demagoguing, right? And I was getting up my base. I was using the fear, the caravans, the immigrants. And this kind of stopped my momentum of the stuff that you guys like, the talk about fear and hatred, because then it was like annoying. Like this is the part he didn't mention, but I think that he's partly alluding to on purpose. Like then it's harder to say the immigrants are the problem when I said that and the guy went and killed 11 Jewish Americans because he thought they were helping the immigrants.
Yeah.
And so that was annoying to me. So it turns out my fear-mongering worked, and he murdered those people. and it made my fear-mongering a little less convenient. I mean, yeah, I did it anyway, but it made it a little less convenient, and it stopped my momentum. Yeah. So I'm annoyed that he killed those people, and it hurt my political chances a little bit. By the way, for the exact reason why I do it so you are scared and hateful and take action, and he did. God damn it, you do it after the election, right? Yeah. And by the way, sorry, one more thing, John. About after the election, the terrorists in Kansas, the right-wing extremists in Kansas were gonna blow up a building with Somali refugees in it in the middle of Kansas. They said in 2016, they purposely waited till after the election to try to execute that plan because they didn't wanna help Hillary Clinton, they wanted to make sure Donald Trump won. So like in the past, the right-wing terrorists have basically done what Donald Trump wants, which is like, hey, let's wait for the terror attacks after the election because we don't want to stop his momentum. But this knucklehead in Pittsburgh didn't get that memo, and so that's why Donald Trump is aggrieved.
Yeah. Now, so I think that one of the things that our fans, the people who watch the show, tend to care about is reality and whether things are true, but not everybody does actually believe that. And some people might see Donald Trump refusing to acknowledge the obvious connection between his rhetoric and some of these attacks. Whether you think he wanted it to happen or whether you can connect one specific statement to a specific attack. We know that these are people that largely agree with him. One was a huge fan of his. And so how can he not acknowledge that at these rallies? Well, it turns out that, like we predicted, his fans are not going to accept that there's any problem with political violence coming from the right. And thankfully, we have Rebel HQ's Emma Vigeland, who has been going to a number of these rallies, talking with Trump fans there, and she has uncovered some amazing, I guess, mental gymnastics to avoid coming to grips with what's actually going on. Here is the first video.
There's been a string of right-wing terrorist attacks and kind of an influx in them, an influx in right-wing
terrorist attacks, like when? What?
Like the bomber, like the white supremacist shooting.
The insane person.
Right, but so 37 right-wing terrorist attacks in 2017, only 7 Islamic terrorist attacks, 11 right-wing. That's from the Global Terrorism Database.
Okay. Nice try.
What do I think about it? False media. Fake news, that's what I think about it personally.
No, listen to the man. They just blow it up. They take everything out of context, or when they can.
He used to be a Democrat too. Nobody talks about that. He was just a crazy person. You can't blame a president for a crazy person.
I'm just wondering if you think Trump's encouraging that kind of rhetoric with the way.
No, he's trying to keep him out. He's trying to keep him out of here, and he's trying to get rid of him, and I don't want to see it happen. But if we have to, we'll kill him.
Okay, so we're not violent.
The
we have to kill them.
communication skills, it's frustrating.
Yeah, no, they just live on a different planet. That to me is the most frustrating and depressing part. I mean, the more we send Emma to those rallies, the more we see those. A huge percentage of those folks do not live on Earth. They live in a alternate reality where the guy who said that I hate the immigrants so much and the Jews are paying for the immigrants, just like Donald Trump said, Soros, they asked him the other day, you think it's Soros funding the caravan? And he said, yeah, probably, right? So the shooter said the same thing, not in Soros, but another Jewish group he thought was funding the caravan, so he went and killed Jews. How is that not right wing? He is an avowed right winger. That guy happened to think that Donald Trump didn't hate Jews enough, right? He was to the right of Donald Trump, but he's nowhere near the left, nowhere near the middle, clearly. Now you could say, look, a fair point would be, oh, come on now, that's not fair because he doesn't represent all of us. None of us do bombings and we're all good people and I love my kids and we go play softball and look, I think that they enjoy the same kind of rhetoric, so I wouldn't agree with that point, but it would be a fair point. But to just deny reality and say, no, he wasn't right wing, the guy who sent the bombs, he sent it to 13 top Democrats and liberals in the country. And he's an avowed Trump fan who has the CNN sucks and Donald Trump is great van and the stickers and showed up at the rallies, called himself an avid Trump fan. How is he not right wing? But they don't live on Earth. Right. They live in a totally different reality where they're right about everything and then everyone else that doesn't look like them is a mortal threat to them.
Someone that I follow on Twitter said something, and I can't remember exactly who said it, but she said something I hadn't thought about before, just like how well these people must sleep at night. Like how awesome it must be to just not care about anybody who doesn't look exactly like you. I mean, exactly like you, and to not have to think about and like internalize horrible things going on in this country to not, actually get sad when you think about little kids being stripped away from their families or people leaving like war-torn cities and walking to other countries to just say, please, can I have your scraps?
Yeah.
Can I just have your free air? To hear that, to not have to worry about being in your place of worship, your place of faith, and being murdered and never going home again, to have to feel about taking your kids to a synagogue and if you're being a bad parent because you choose to do that. Like, they must sleep really well because it's rough out there right now, when you care.
Yeah, they go there to be surrounded by people who are exactly like them.
This is also
look
how they
exactly
live
like
their
them,
lives,
think
though.
exactly like them. And the thing is, you might say, well, look, Emma talks to a lot of people. Why do you guys focus on the craziest people? And we're gonna have some other crazies. And the thing is, previously, we have put up videos of Trump fans at his rallies saying reasonable things. When she comes across them, people who seem to question things or they seem to get their information from multiple places, they sound reasonable, we go out of our way to magnify that part of his fan base. But we can't help it if we ask, do you accept the obvious facts that right-wing terrorists far outnumber either liberal or Islamic? We'll just include all of those terrorists. They just don't accept it, and it doesn't matter how obvious it is. If Donald Trump went up there one night and said, I want you to shoot Maxine Waters in the head, and someone did it the next day, they'd say he's just a crazy. It doesn't matter how many MAGA hats he wears. It doesn't matter how strong the connection is. He can repeat the exact same conspiracy theories. The MAGA bomber can target his exact list of enemies. They will never accept that.
So one just quick thing here. I think that they sleep well and they don't. So they sleep well because they don't. It's not that they don't have empathy. I think Trump doesn't have empathy, but I think his followers do. But only for, as we've talked a lot of in the past, their own community, people who they view to be one of them. And if, by the way, there's a black person in their community, they might actually view that black person as one of them. But they have to be in the community, right? They have to be in the church, they have to be in the neighborhood, etc. And that's it. And anyone outside the gates, they have no empathy for at all. So they do sleep well in that sense. But they don't sleep well because they're in constant terror. Like the immigrants are coming, the Jews are coming, the Muslims are coming, the blacks are coming, the Latinos are coming, the gays are coming. Oh my God, they're in the bathroom. The trans are in the bathroom, right?
Can I just say, because people aren't gonna get like upset, but listen, a black person is never truly in that community. That what we just saw, that. Oh, no. You may think you are, but look at Kanye. It can be snatched right up under. There are people who, the rug can never, it's like attached to their feet. You are not one of them. And something is going to happen sooner than later because it happens to them all. This is not your community. I mean, like.
No, you're totally right.
It's not.
Because I was gonna say, well, if you're Ben
not that, what we just saw.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but if you're Ben Carson, a total, sellout, Candace Owens, whatever, right?
He better keep it on the up and up.
Yeah, but by the way, Candace, go ahead and cry about that right now. But the reality is you're right. Because if she missteps a little bit and says, on the other, oh my God, like a cousin of mine got shot and he was unarmed. That was weird. Why did they do that? They're like, oh, she's out. Okay, she's one of those no good blacks.
Do you ever read her replies just for fun from people who support her? They talk to her like she is a dog, and I don't think she even knows it. Like it is just like, hey, you are less than me, but thank you so much for talking to your people. Maybe one day, you guys can get out there and be, good parts of the country and do for yourselves. I'm so happy that you're like, what? This is not your friend. This is not your friend talks to you.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.